under our Constitution, we are prohibited from establishing religion, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what the
So
establishment says.
if you have members of Congress that are legislating laws in accordance with their faith in regards to abortion or LGBTQ or women or any of those things, that should be prohibited within our Constitution.
You are not allowed to impose, through the government, your religious beliefs on others. That is not what religious freedom is about. That's not what our country rests on.
Yeah. For many of us, religious freedom is extremely important. It is life and death in this country. Yes. Many of us fled our countries to come to the United States because that is the one thing that distinguishes us from many countries. But it's also important that we have a secular government.
Did you hear that, folks? That was Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, an actual sitting member of the United States Congress, openly suggesting that members of Congress should be prohibited from legislating according to their faith. Her word, prohibited. This right here is the quiet part finally said out loud. This is exactly what we, as conservatives, as Republicans, as supporters of President Trump, have been warning about for years. The radical left, the so-called squad, doesn't just disagree with our values. They don't simply oppose pro-life beliefs or traditional marriage. No, they want to make it illegal for anyone who believes in those things to even serve in government. They want to erase Christianity, to erase Judeo-Christian values, from the public square entirely. Period. We're about to watch this full clip, plus another one where Omar goes after the president of Columbia University. But I want you to pay very close attention to the hypocrisy, the projection, and the outright assault on American values happening right before your eyes. This is what the modern left has become. If you're tired of it, if you're ready to fight back and defend the soul of this nation, do me a favor right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below with Save America. Let's dive right in.
Ms. Omar, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. President Shafiq, I wanted to get a clarification earlier. One of my colleagues asked you, have you seen anti-Muslim protests on campus?
I have seen, we have had pro-Israeli demonstrations on campus.
No.
But
just
not
a protest that was
not,
against Muslims.
No, I have
you
not
seen one against Arabs?
No, I have not.
Have you seen one against Palestinians?
No, I have not.
Have you seen one against Jewish people? Have you seen a protest saying we are against Jewish people?
No, I have seen.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. There has been a rise in targeting and harassment against anti-war protesters because it's been pro-war and anti-war protesters is what it seems like, correct?
Correct. There has been.
Okay, thank you. Activists on campus, including Jewish students, Black and Brown, Arab and Muslim students. How many of the organizations that were canceled in Columbia involved Jewish students?
One of the organizations is called Jewish Voices for Peace.
Yes. And encompassed of Jewish students?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There was there's been a recent attack on the democratic rights of students across the country. I was appalled to learn that in April, Columbia suspended and evicted 6 students for their involvement in the pro-Palestinian panel event on campus. It happened that all 6 students were arbitrarily targeted after the university brought in a team of private and former police investigators. These investigators harassed, intimidated Palestinian students at their homes, demanding to see students' private text messages and sent threatening emails to the leaders of those pro-Palestinian groups. I would like to ask you to speak a little bit more to this situation and ask you if you guys have utilized private former police investigators before, or is this the first time?
So this was a very serious case. We had students who on an online
If you could
call,
shorten your answer, that would be really appreciated.
of course, who invited people who were inciting violence, and that is unacceptable. And so we needed to get to the bottom of it. And so that's why we brought private investigators along with notifying
how
the
secure
FBI.
were you, these students that you evicted and suspended were involved? Did you do any investigation? Was there a hearing?
They refused to cooperate with the investigation. And so until they do so, they are suspended.
Okay, thank you. And then in January, there was an incident involving students that were protesting, that were attacked with a toxic chemical substance, leaving many hospitalized. A lot of them did not receive support from the school administrators. Can you speak to what is happening with the investigation, if you all are cooperating, and why weren't the students provided any support after they've experienced that attack?
So this is still with the police, and as far as we know, we think it was an odorous substance, and we did reach out to all of those students who said they were affected. Many of them didn't want support. We also
It took you guys more than 4 days to reach out to students.
No, I don't believe that's correct.
Okay, will you
actually.
respond, give me a written response with the fact that you all responded right away to those students?
Yes, I would be happy to do that.
All right, appreciate that. And it looks like there's been a lot of doxing and harassment that has taken place. What protections are a student being provided?
We created a doxing resources group to support students. There were many students who were affected by this. Muslim students, Jewish students, and completely, other students. That group we had 90 students reach out to that group to get support in terms of both technical support, legal support, privacy scrubbing, and so on.
And before I run out of time, I wanted to ask what do your rules say about professors that harass students online, like Professor Shai Davidar has done, and professors who directly attack you as the president as a coward and a liar?
So, as president, I'm used to being attacked, but attacking our students is unacceptable. And in that case, we've had more than 50 complaints about that professor, and he is currently under investigation for harassment.
Let's break this down, because honestly, it's infuriating. First, let's talk about that so-called religious freedom hearing. Omar starts with an obvious, simple question. Under our constitution, the government is prohibited from establishing a religion. Sure, we all agree on that. The witness, Ms. Laser, responds, absolutely. Fine. That's the Establishment Clause. No Church of America. We get it. But here's the trap. Watch how fast she flips it. Her next question, so if members of Congress are legislating based on their faith, about abortion, LGBTQ issues, or women, that should be prohibited. Did you catch that? She just equated a Republican lawmaker voting pro-life because they believe life is a gift from God with the illegal establishment of a state religion. That's not just dishonest. That's a deliberate twisting of logic. When Ilhan Omar says legislating based on faith, she doesn't mean her own faith. She means your faith. She's talking about Christians. She's targeting every conservative, every Republican who dares to let their moral compass guide them. She wants to disqualify you from serving in government. Plain and simple. And the hypocrisy? Absolutely jaw-dropping. She gives this emotional speech about how religious freedom is life and death, how people fled persecution to come to America for it, and in the very next breath says, but it's also important we have a secular government. There it is, the code. To the radical left, secular doesn't mean neutral. It means hostile to Christianity. It means stripping faith from every inch of public life. She's literally using the same religious freedom that protects her to dismantle that very freedom for the people who built this country. This is why we need leaders like President Trump. Leaders who proudly say Merry Christmas, who stand strong for Judeo-Christian values in the public square. Now let's move to the Columbia University hearing. Somehow even worse. Here's Dr. Minush Shafik, the university president, caught in an impossible position. Her campus is overrun by a radical, anti-Semitic mob. Jewish students are being harassed, threatened, told to go back to Poland. They're afraid to walk on campus. The entire purpose of this hearing? To address that out-of-control antisemitism. So what does Omar do? Does she condemn it? Ask how to protect Jewish students? Of course not. She immediately flips the script. Her first question, have you seen any anti-Muslim or anti-Arab protests? Classic diversion. Classic whataboutism. Dr. Shafik, to her credit, says no. Because they don't exist. Omar is creating a fantasy to make the rule-breaking mobs look like victims. Then she has the audacity to call them anti-war protesters. Anti-war? Give me a break. These aren't peace activists, they're chanting from the river to the sea, a genocidal slogan calling for the eradication of Jews. They're shouting globalize the Intifada, a call for violent uprising. And those are the people Ilhan Omar defends. Then she actually gets angry, that Columbia suspended these students and hired investigators. Dr. Shafik calmly explains, they broke the rules. They invited people inciting violence. They created a dangerous, anti-Semitic environment. But Omar's only concern? That they were punished for it. It's a completely upside-down world. And don't even get me started on the so-called chemical attack. Omar talks about it like it's a gas attack. Dr. Shafik clarifies, police are investigating, it was an odorous substance, a stink bomb. And honestly, it might have been set off by the protesters themselves to play victim. But Omar treats it like a war crime while ignoring the real violence faced by Jewish students every single day. This is the squad's playbook. Defend the mob, attack the institutions, flip victim and oppressor, and, as we saw earlier, lay the groundwork to ban your political opponents from ever holding power again. That's why the 2024 election mattered so much, and why every election from now on is a fight for America's soul. We're in a battle between those who love this nation and its founding values, and those, like Ilhan Omar, who want to tear it down and erase our faith from public life. I know exactly where I stand. I stand with Dr. Shafik for restoring order. I stand with President Trump and the Republican Party for defending this country. Tell me what you think. Was I too harsh, or not harsh enough? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.